Welcome back to Commando Performance Podcast, the #1 military podcast on the internet. So we had a podcast the other week with regards to the Royal Marines Candidates Preparation Course. This week we are looking at the Royal Marines ROP. So hopefully this is going to be another good listen for you guys. But let's get into it. Hey mate, how's it going?
Not too bad, man. Good morning. How's things?
Not too bad, not too bad. Yeah, so as like we were speaking on Instagram, we're just going to talk about basically the ROP really, and just see how see what it's about, and hopefully we can try and help some lads that are going to be joining up soon in a couple of weeks or months or years or whatever. And probably try and compare it to foundation, because obviously I passed out or went through training like 10 years ago. So it'd be good just to see what the difference is and how it's changed in the last 10 years. So
right, okay, yeah.
Sweet.
Sounds good.
I've also put some questions on Instagram as well, so we'll see what some lads ask, and then we'll probably answer them at the end if we've got any time.
Okay. Yeah, sounds good. Sounds a plan.
When did you start the ROP?
Well, actually, hang on, I think the exact date. I think it was in October. So yeah, that's it. I started October because it ended 18th of October this year, and then finished up on the 18th of November, like this year as well.
Yeah.
I think with that for a second because I couldn't think of the exact dates.
No, that's cool. Did you do the CPC or did you do it all online?
No, I did mine all online because I didn't get a chance to with being over in Northern Ireland. I didn't get a chance to get over for the CPC. There actually wasn't that many guys on our ROP got a chance to do it. There was only a handful.
Yeah.
Which is quite odd.
Only just really started it back up, haven't they?
Yeah, there was a whole lot of nonsense with it, like people not getting. It was really only guys around, like the Exeter, Plymouth area that got down to do it, because a lot of the guys anywhere north or across the water didn't get over for it.
No, that's fair enough. Yeah. Sweet. So yeah, let's just dive straight into it. So,
Happy day.
Do you arrive on Monday or Tuesday?
Monday. You arrive on the Monday morning. Well, not necessarily Monday morning. It's throughout the Monday, so everyone's arriving at different points. And it's mainly the first day is just really getting yourself in, sorted, getting your kit out, meeting the guys that you're in with, and just doing a basic wee bit of admin whenever you arrive. The real bones of it don't start until the next morning, really, because that's then obviously when you attest and all of that. And then the first test, the swim test, is the Tuesday as well. It's generally straight after you do your attest. So they start the yeah.
Yeah, pretty much the same then, because foundation, everyone like arrived throughout the day. I think there's about 60 of us when I done it, and we're literally all in the same room. I think ROP's done in the old Hunter block now, isn't it?
I think so. Yeah, it's over that direction, but it's actually mine was near enough 80 guys. 78 started with us, so it's strange seeing how it used to be 60, just 60. Now it's anywhere from 70 odd to 80 starting. Yeah, then you're immediately split down into different rooms as well, which is interesting, like to start with.
Yeah, for sure. Is the swim test pass or fail on the second day?
Oh yeah, I think with ours we lost about 5 guys straight away just with the swim test. But it's not really, if there's any guys sort of concerned about it, it's not really anything to be concerned about if you can swim confidently. It's not a problem. With ours, they didn't even do the diving for a break. It was just the jump off, swim a couple laps to the pool, and then tread water for a couple of minutes. So as long as you can do that, you'll be fine with it. But it's not bad at all. It's more just like taking a box, like, right, you can swim, that's grand.
Yeah.
Sort of simple as that, yeah.
Oh, so you didn't do Bergen or weapon just yet? It was just a swim.
Oh no, not straight away. No, just to swim. Later on, they'll do that sort of thing with you, but that's not till like the end of week 2, start of week 3 when you're doing phys sessions and stuff.
Yeah. Yeah. So what does, because foundation pretty much for us was literally gym, phys, just admin. So like ironing, washing, hand washing. So we wasn't allowed to use washing machines or anything. We had to wash all our clothes in bed like in the sink. Is it the same thing for you guys?
It is, yeah. Well, for the first while it is. So for the first 2 weeks, it'll be all hand washing in the sinks using the drying rooms. But then you have an inspection the end of week 2.
Yeah.
And it's pass or fail. So basically, if you pass that, then the training team will generally allow you to use the washers and dryers. And it's a godsend. You know, I'm sure you know yourself. It's great.
Oh,
but
yeah.
they're very strict with it, as they are, and it's all real stringent criteria for the training team coming about. But it's not really something to stress too much about, because at the end of the day, all it is for just to get a bit easier with the washing and dryers. But you'll know how to do it by the time you're doing it. You know, they'll teach you for the first 2 weeks all the way they want it set out, how they want it done, and you'll learn as well with the different staff how they like different things done. So long as you can keep on top of that, not a problem. Yeah.
Yeah. So does the DL still come in and teach you everything pretty much?
Oh yeah. So you'll sit down like of an evening time, and they'll sit with you and give you a whole talk through the ironing. They'll do the whole sit with you and show you how to wash yourselves, which was interesting to say the least. Whenever they had us all in, they do the whole washing and shave routine, teach you the whole shebang with that, all the way you wash yourself, how you do the ships routine, like the in out type of thing, one guy in, one guy out.
Yeah.
And then even with the way they want things set out in your locker, they'll sit and teach you, this is how they want it folded, this is how they want it done, and it'll be done to that standard type thing,
Yeah. Right. What's the sleep like? Do you get much sleep?
To begin with, you get a decent amount. It's not too bad, but after you start into it properly, you really start to get into that sleep deprivation stuff, especially if you can't keep on top of your admin. So if you can keep on top of your admin, you get a bit more, but it's nothing special. But it's one of those things, you've just got to grin and bear it. You got to stick with it. Remember the night we got our kit issued to us, because initially when you start off, you get given these like tracksuits with the core emblem and crest on them.
Yeah.
So just to identify you as the roppers starting off. But then sort of a couple of days in, you get given all your kits, like all your uniform and stuff issued to you. But you have to have it all inspection ready for the next morning. So we were sitting, I think, about 2-3 in the morning, all sleep deprived and delirious, and trying to iron and falling asleep over the ironing boards and stuff. So if you sort of keep the good mindset with it and try to have a bit of a laugh at it, you'll be grand. But it's really not as bad as it's cracked up to be. But it's still a bit of a nightmare.
Exactly what it sounds like. It's like, because you guys are 4 weeks long, they can kind of like spread it out more. Yeah, with us, foundation was 2 weeks. It was literally just 2 weeks of getting smashed pretty much for admin. I think over 4 weeks, not too bad. But we were the same. Literally, like the first week, everything's like 110 miles an hour. You haven't got a clue what's happening. It's just running around, like up until, like I said, 3 o'clock in the morning, trying to iron your rig, make sure it's perfect. You think it's perfect, you still get picked up the next morning.
Things like that. And the same with the beds and stuff as well. Just trying to make sure your bed's immaculate when you get up the next morning, and hoping you don't get your pit flipped and that whole thing.
It's all fun and games.
That's it.
It does get easier at the end. They do ease off slowly.
A wee bit, but not overly. Sort of,
Oh, yes.
you know, it'll be like only be towards the end. They'll maybe ignore your bed as much. Don't pay too much attention to that. So long as you keep it in good order, you know, don't give them an excuse to look for anything.
Exactly. Yeah. What's the fizz like in the? Do you do fizz this week?
Say it again. Sorry, cut out a wee bit there.
Do you do fizz in the first week?
Yeah, as far as it's not very intense or anything. It's just sort of, it's more like a teach into how you act in the gym.
Yeah.
That sort of thing, like bringing you in, introducing you to the PTIs. You know, the whole don't move, don't scratch, don't do anything. If you do, you'll regret it type thing. You know, teaching all about the do's and don'ts.
Just discipline.
Yeah, but for us, it was doing a lot of the top field stuff. So taking us out and running us around fields and doing, I know it's normally on a big AstroTurf pitch, so they had us doing all the stuff there. You do is like the sprints and the body weight stuff and just working with partners and evaluating like how well you can do your press ups, your sit ups, what your form's like, that sort of thing. So the first week of it all is more just them assessing you and your fitness rather than going through proper phys sessions, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
But then after that, it sort of picks up a good bit.
Yeah, it's pretty much the same as us. Like foundation, when we first arrived, I think the first like 2-3 days was doing the fitness tests again. So we would do the 3-miler and the gym tests, and then obviously the fizz would start after that. And then basically PTIs used that as an assessment to see where everyone was. It seems like that's changed a little bit. Like you said, you now go top field, crack fizz, and then the PTIs just watch and then get eyes on pretty much.
Yeah, because they worked with us was like one of the first sessions we had was they took us up and they basically had us run around a field just running for half an hour and going around and around. And then they took us and stopped us and said, right, everybody's going to get into 2 lines facing each other. And then they just went through the press-up test with us. But at the time they didn't tell us that. They just said we're going to do press-ups. But they were just walking up and down behind us and making sure everyone was doing it in the correct form and that sort of thing.
Yeah.
So it was kind of like doing the test, but not really. It wasn't really the same like pass or fail criteria with it.
Yeah, just getting an eye to see where everyone was. Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you go into the gym and do IMF and all that as well?
We did, but that wasn't until maybe week 2 or so. But even at that, they were introducing us to that up on the AstroTurf pitches first.
Yeah.
And sort of teaching us 4 corners. But they were doing that more as like here's your warm up. We're just going to do this. And we're going to do it this way. And then they brought us into the gym and said we're going to do. Eventually, when they brought us into doing the IMF, you know, it was all the stuff on the spots and run around and weave about and that whole thing.
Did you crack any camp circuits?
We didn't know. There was a few. I think a couple of other troops did it during the ROP, but our troop didn't. They only did that during when they started mainstream. But I think that sort of thing's just down to the PTI's discretion whether or not they want you to do it or not.
Yeah, I think because I think the ROP is basically like break people in, bring them up to a certain standard before like mainstream training.
Mm-hmm. So
yeah, I think they won't start camp circuits until, like you said, until like recruit training, pretty much. Yeah,
generally not. But as I said, there was a couple. I think one of the troops behind us was doing it.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't just reserve yourself that it doesn't happen at all. There's probably a good chance it could happen.
Yeah. But, no, exactly. Yeah.
Like I said, ours didn't happen. Our PTI didn't do it with us.
Fair enough. So do you have any lectures? Do you learn anything like map reading, weapons? Because I heard you do a bit of weapons and stuff now in the ROP.
Oh yeah, you go through. It's not until sort of more so the later stage, at the end of week 2, start of week 3. Oh wait, not even. No, yeah, sort of going through week 2. You'll do start your weapons drills and stuff. But I'll just start off with teaching you NSPs and how to strip down the rifle. But then it'll go into by the end of it, you've got all your stoppage drills down, and then all the parts of the weapon. You know what every bit is, what way it works, what way it goes in. So basically, you can go in the first week of mainstream and just pass your weapons handling test and crack on with the rest of the training.
It is definitely a better way compared to what it was before.
it seems a very good system from what I've seen anyway.
Yeah, like I said, like the first 4 weeks is to break you guys in, they fizz up, and you can smash like weapon handling drills, all the basic stuff like that. And then when you start recruit training or mainstream, then you can literally just do soldiering, and you pretty much got the basics already down. When before it was like you got a week to do weapons, you got a week to do this, and you literally just get smashed, and then you're expected to pass. So it's definitely
it definitely seems a lot of the guys from my troop that I kept in touch with were saying it definitely stood them in real good stead, because they felt as if it was just like second nature going into it by that stage, you know.
Yeah, it does. You do it so much, it does literally become second nature for sure.
Definitely. And then you were saying about lectures as well. You'll generally have a lot of those just interspersed between everything else you're doing. So it'll be on anything from one of the first ones we got was all on PERSEC and all about what way to conduct yourself on social media, talking about where you are, what you're doing, you know, what you can and can't say to people, what way to act when you're out and about. That whole thing, and all about the dangers of, you know, who's going to be looking for you, who's going to be maybe asking you too much information, or what too much information is to give out.
Yeah.
And that's really drilled into you from the day you get there, because I think that you get that lecture on I think day 3, 2 or 3.
Yeah, you do pretty much do it straight away.
Yeah. But then when it comes to lectures, you'll have like maybe 2 or 3 in a day, which isn't bad. But then you get to a stage where you're up at ungodly hours, and you've got 2 or 3 lectures done before the sun even comes up, and you've got fizz as well, and all that. It's just trying to remember it all. It's a bit of a struggle sometimes.
Oh yeah.
So I'd say that definitely anyone going into it, just get your notebooks out and write down as much as you can while you're doing it, and just go over it as well when you get a chance at the end of the day, if you really want to keep on top of it.
Yeah, definitely. Because like I don't know if they still do it now, but when I went for training, literally all the lectures you had to have it written down neatly in a folder. And then if you want to become like King's Badge or a Diamond, your folder had to be pretty squared away and have all the notes in there. So yeah, like you said, it's definitely worth writing it all down and stuff like that for sure.
Yeah, getting that from the word go, because we were told a bit about that with our ROP, but that was more from our corporals and stuff, not really like officially, you know, said to us during our lectures or anything.
Yeah.
But I was like, it won't really happen until mainstream, but this is how it is. So I'd say definitely get it in order and get it in your head. That's the way you need to do it before you go into mainstream, just to make it easier, so you're not like reteaching yourself.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, you have literally lectures the whole way through training. It doesn't stop. But yeah, literally it'll be like into a lecture, teach, and you go into the field and then practice it. So it's more like a teach, practice, stuff like that. So it is definitely a good method. So yeah, week 1's like admin. Week 2 is slowly getting into it, like phys, lectures, weapons. What's week 3? Week 3, 4. Did you go on exercise?
We did, yeah. That's week. Yeah, so it started week 4.
Is it still called First Step?
Yep, it is. Still exercise first step, and it's basically just your introduction to the field admin and stuff. But yeah, the whole wet and dry routine. It's it's memorable.
Yeah,
to say the least.
It never gets easier.
What was that? Sorry.
It never gets easier.
No, it doesn't. That's what I heard from the guys that have gone on the mainstream with our troop. They were saying as well, with the exercises they're doing. I think they had another one just starting the other day there. They were saying the same thing. It's not any easier. It's still the same. The same bullshit. Still.
Yeah, it never changes. Wet and dry will always be wet and dry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you know, the exercise isn't bad. But it's, again, so week 3 will be like prepping you for going out in the exercise. So it'll be a lot of going over kit masters and going over your kit, making sure you know how to square that all away. Going over how to make sure your kit's maintained, how to maintain yourself, and then obviously when you go out to the field, they'll do all the practical lessons with you on how to maintain yourself, like showing you how to wash yourself under your bivvy and that whole thing.
Yeah.
But it's good crack. It's enjoyable. It's probably one of the better parts of it. But yeah, again, it's not something to be stressed about either, though. If that's something that they're worried about, because it's, again, when you get there, you'll learn all these things that they're, that they're talking about, and it all comes to you pretty quickly.
That's the kind of stuff. Right. That's the kind of stuff we join for as well, though. Like the soldiering part is getting outside, so it is good fun.
So that's one thing we find even with the ROP was there was a few guys at the start were griping and whinging about, why am I sitting here ironing till all hours in the morning? I thought I was coming here to be a soldier, and I can't, then a few of the guys actually got so disillusioned with it that they were thinking about quitting, and a couple of guys couldn't hack it to chuck their chits in because they thought they were coming to be a soldier and were sitting having to do all this stuff in the build up to it.
Yeah, to be fair, a lot of lads do that actually. A lot of lads will start, and because the first week's like admin, they're like, this is not what I signed up for, and they leave.
Yeah. So I think you need to get it through your head that it's all done for like a build up to it all. It's all to instill the values in you, and then just know that when you're going, you're not going to be a soldier straight away, and you have to do all this stuff to get to that stage, Because I think that's one thing, like you said, too many guys show up and think, well, I'm going to be this big bad soldier from the get-go,
Yeah. Oh, yeah, especially the Marines pride themselves on hygiene and stuff like that. So yeah, starting off with just admin, keeping yourself clean and stuff, it does carry over into the field for sure. Yeah. You got to start that. And then week 4 is just tests or stuff like that, is it?
Yeah. So it'll be, you'll go out, you'll leave on the Monday, and go out and exercise for 3 days, and then you come back the Wednesday, and you'll have a couple of tests when you come back. And for us as well, it was the first introduction we had to the tank, which was a great experience as well. So it had us into the tank, then up on the high ropes near bottom field, and doing that, which was, we were told again it was pass or fail. And we were told as well, actually, the march back from our exercise was pass or fail, and if you didn't make that, you'd be sent back. And then you get back in the camp thinking, all right, sweet, I've done that. I'm going to get a nice shower, get myself sorted, get started on my kit muster. Then you're straight down to the bottom field and get cracking with the rest of the tests they want you to do.
Yeah.
And eventually after that, they'll let you get back and get sorted. And then I think Thursday would be the kit muster. And that was, I think it's not pass or fail, but they want you to maintain it to a good standard. And with our first one, we didn't quite get it. So we're doing this, when you get on as well, in the later parts, they really start to let loose with the admin thrashings and things, and they really the gloves start to come off a wee bit.
Yeah.
So it was up at 4 into the drill shed, with all the kit muster in the drill shed, because we messed up the one the day before. So again, I'd say to anyone, like, a bit of advice, just make sure you keep on top of all your admin and go between everyone you're with and make sure they all do the same, because it might seem like a bit too much effort, but it's well worth it compared to what they make you do.
Oh yes.
But yeah.
Yeah, sounds about right.
Yeah, Friday's then the RMFA, which is then pass or fail, and then once you get past that, it's just getting yourself shifted across the mainstream accommodation and getting yourselves moved in.
Yeah. Happy days. So when you do wet and dry, where'd you do that? If you did, because when we done wet and dry, we used a tank. We did.
Oh, okay. Well, they had us out in Woodbury, and
okay,
they took us from.
Used the pool.
Yeah, we used a couple of different spots. Where we were, they took us down to a sheep dip and threw us into there.
Okay.
Took us out of there, ran us back to the harbour area, and then started it from there. But there was a couple of different spots sort of around where our harbour was set up that the training team were using. So it was kind of like, right, we're going for a run, and you don't know how far you're going, where you're going, how long it's going to be.
Yep.
And that whole thing. And they take you this stinking wee swamp, throw you into there, back out again, and back and doing your wet and dry. But it would be maybe 2 or 3 times a day, because as you're doing your lessons, you're stuff in the field, your kit starts to dry out too much. So then they
Yeah.
have to re-soak it and take you out, which they take a bit too much pleasure in, you know. But it's all right though. It's interesting having to do the other lessons in amongst all of that. But it's nothing too bad, because then they'll start off with the wet and dry. Before that, they'll do a short teach on it. So we had like one of the corporals set up like a little bivvy area, and he was just sitting in it, threw his water bottle over the top of him, and gave us like a brief run through of what it is you have to do. And then from that, we were taken down, soaked, brought back, and had to run through it ourselves, as well as setting up our whole area, you know, like all the divvies and everything.
Yeah.
So it was a bit of a trial by fire to begin with, but it teaches you quickly, so I wouldn't stress too much about it.
Oh yeah. Yeah, you'll get used, especially on exercise, you'll get used to finding the closest puddle and getting in it for sure.
Yep.
That doesn't stop. You'll always be wet and cold. Happy days. So, so a couple of questions from the lads on Instagram.
Yep.
What's the hardest part of the ROP, would you say?
Oh, that's one of those things that's really subjective.
Yeah.
Good question. I'm not sure. Because obviously the whole thing, you know, it's tough from the get-go. But I'd say maybe having to disconnect from all your family and friends and everyone, because they'll take your phones all away from you. Like the second night you're there, and they won't tell you when you're getting them back. And we had them taken off us for basically the first full week we were there, and not knowing that you're not going to have that support base, your family and stuff. That was a bit tough at times. Yeah. And I know with a lot of the guys in ours, there was a few guys really had some low moments and things when you could have done with speaking to family and stuff. But then again, it gets you closer to the guys you're with and really drives up that camaraderie. So it's real bittersweet, you know. But it was definitely, I'd say, the tougher part, because the rest of it's just what you're, you know, if you get it in your head, that's what I'm here for. It's not as bad, but it's still all tough. But there's still some parts are just a wee bit tougher than others, yeah, I'd say.
Yeah, it's like, everyone just thinks something different. Like some lads might find the admin harder, some lads might find the phys hard. So yeah, it just depends on the person, really.
Mm-hmm.
One of the questions is, what's the pass scores at the end? But it's probably pretty much the same as the CPC, I would say, like the gym tests and that.
Probably the way it was run with us, because I'm not sure with the CPC because I didn't do it. But you can keep me right here. We had it wasn't really so what happened with the bleep test, for instance. They'd start you off, and as soon as it got to 11.3, they would stop it. All the guys that didn't pass it were sent to one side. All the guys that did pass were brought to the other side. And basically taking a note of who passed, who didn't. Then when it came to the press ups and sit ups, it would just go until it hit 40. And it would stop at 40. Everyone would stand up, dress back, same with sit-ups and so on. So it would just be go to what the requirement is and stop there.
Yeah. Okay. Sweet. Yeah. That's like a new thing they brought in, like stopping at the pass max now instead of doing max effort sets now, pretty much.
No, we had in some sessions they would do like run-throughs of it, and it would be just max to see what you could do.
Yeah.
But when it comes to the actual tests, it's just it's all everyone's just the same requirement. As long as you pass it, that's fine.
Yeah. So with the tests, what's the pass and fail? So you got the swim test at the start, which is a pass and fail.
Mm-hmm.
There's the jump back from exercise, pass and fail.
That's a bit subjective now with the training teams, from what I've heard from other guys.
Oh, okay.
Our training team told us it was pass or fail, but I think that was because at the time there was an awful lot of guys still in our troop. Even by that stage, I think there was still maybe 50, like late 50s, 60 odd guys.
Yeah.
So they really needed to strengthen the herd. But yeah, that for our troop, that was pass or fail on the way back. Then when you get back, there's the high ropes, which is like, it's more like a confidence test. So if you can't do that, then you're binned. And then obviously the RMFA at the end. But I think that's about it from what I remember. Yeah, it was the swim test, then high ropes at the end, and the RMFA. That was the only pass or fail ones.
Oh, sweet. Happy days. Yeah, and then last bit, just to finish off with, is your number one or your tip or advice you would give someone that's doing the ROP.
Ooh, I'd say definitely. It's one that I've heard a lot from a lot of other guys as well. It's definitely true. It does, like with ironing and admin, get on top of it as fast as you can, because the quicker you get that stuff done, the better sleep you can get and the more downtime you can get. But as well as that, just try your best to keep your mental resilience up, because it gets a bit tough at times. But if you just sort of keep in your head, like, this only lasts for so long, or this is what I'm here to do, you'll be grand. Just sort of keep in your head what it is you're there for, and just try and keep that mental resilience up, because that makes everything miles easier. Way easier.
Yeah, just take it day by day, pretty much.
Yeah, that was one thing I found as well, was when you're there, don't stress about what's coming maybe week 3, week 4, if you're only in week either start of week 2.
Yeah.
If you're going to stress about anything, stress about what you've got to do then and there. But just keep it that way. Just worry about what's directly in front of you, not what's behind you, not what's coming. Just stick with what's there and then. That would probably be the best advice I would give.
That's literally what I'd say to lads. Is literally just take it day by day. Like, lads, like, how do you pay for the 30 mile? I'm like, well, you got to get through fucking week 1, day 1 first.
Yeah.
When lads worry about the final test at the end, I'm like, that stuff just comes at the end. You just got to worry about the day you're living at the moment. Yeah, I tell a lot of lads that, pretty much. You got anything to finish off with, or is that it, pretty much it?
No, it's probably about it. Yeah, just best of luck to anyone that's going off to try it, and fair play for giving it a go. That's probably about it. Yeah.
Yeah, sweet. Well, yeah, thanks for your time. Thanks for doing this. It means a
No
lot.
problem at all.
And yeah, good luck for when you go back.
Cheers. Thank you.
No worries.
Thanks for the opportunity.
Yeah, no worries. See you later.
Right, see you later. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Well, guys, that is it for this week's podcast. Hopefully you enjoyed that one. There's a lot of information there for you guys to take in. Hopefully this helps you prepare better for the ROP, for when it does come up or when you do it next. And again, if you're watching this on YouTube, please hit that subscribe button and also hit that like button. It means a lot to us, and also it helps YouTube share this video. The more likes or comments you put on a video, YouTube basically promotes the video more, puts it out to other people searching for this kind of stuff. So please do hit that like button and put a comment and hit that subscribe button. It means a lot, and it basically helps us grow on YouTube. Again, thanks for watching or listening, and I'll see you on the next episode.